Let's stay on this further. And meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress, NDC minority in Parliament, has expressed disgust and feels a sense of revulsion at the invasion of the office of the Deputy Chair of the Electoral Commission, Georgina Opoku-Amankwah. The minority described the act as crass lawlessness on the person and office of the Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission. In a release, the minority stated they find it untenable, completely unjustifiable, that under the guise of conducting investigations into the matters such as an endowment fund for the Electoral Commission workers, a massive force could be used against an innocent law-abiding official of a body insulated against executive interference or control. On the afternoon of yesterday, January 15, 2018, the chief executive of the IOCO, backed by dozens of police personnel armed to the teeth and with armored personnel carriers, descended on Madame Georgina's office to evict her from her office. Okay, so the minority NDC in Parliament, there's a statement from them. I've been joined in studio by the Honorable A.B.A. Fuseni. He's a ranking member of the Communications Committee of Parliament, a member of Parliament for the Sagnerugu constituency. It's good to have you, Honorable. Now, you say, I mean, this particular act has received widespread condemnation. I'm sure the minority is also saying same, right? Yep. You say that it is rather quite intriguing that for the first time, IOCO indicates that it had submitted a report of the findings to the Attorney General and they cannot wait for directives from her. Why exactly this particular position you say is curious to you, the minority?
Yeah. Thank you very much. My brother, the Dagumbes who have a saying that when the hyena howls in the neighborhood and the goat gets missing, don't doubt who caught it. It's clear.
So who caught it?
The hyena. It was in the vicinity. You see, we are intrigued by this particular matter, and that's why in the decision that you read, we say we are dismayed because we are in a constitutional dispensation where the actions of both government and the governed are anchored on the rule of law and the respect for the fundamental human rights and freedoms of everyone. We dare ask, Madam Georgina Opoku, what is her crime? There's a suspicion that is being investigated. And IOCO itself had indicated that this investigation has been a subject matter that has raged on for the past 6-7 months. Mm-hmm. There is no legitimate basis for her continuous stay at home. Who has served her with a letter? The only letter that would have come, that would have given her the legitimate basis to go on leave was from the office of the president. Nothing of that sort has come. And so as far as we in the minority are concerned, the actions that IOCO undertook yesterday was an act of crass lawlessness. On what authority did IOCO invade the EC premises and to put her office under siege? To the point that the IOCO boss went and sat on even the seat of the Madam Georgina Opoku. No, this is clear case of lawlessness, which must not be tolerated. And that is why we expect to see action from the executive.
What kind of action are you expecting from the executive?
My brother, the IOCO boss works under the Attorney General. And the Attorney General is an appointee of His Excellency the President. So, in the face of this crass act of lawlessness, we expect to see action from the office of the President. Some action must be initiated. Those who brazenly breach the law must not just allow to do that. And we have one too many under the NPP government, where many breaches have gone on. And they are followed with apologies, and you are asked to forget about them.
You see, I'm looking at your statement right now, and you are expecting that the president will act. Meanwhile, you are saying that in the paragraph 9 of your statement that this brazen act of lawlessness, you lay it squarely at the doorstep of the presidency.
Yes.
You are pointing fingers at the president.
Yes.
For the act of IOCO.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you are expecting that he should act. Why do you blame
that? Is exactly why we expect that he should act.
Exactly? Why do you think the president or the presidency was behind the actions of IOCO yesterday?
You see, my brother, when Daria goes around the house, is looking for the landlord. All actions of appointees of government, the ultimate responsibility rests with the president. No, IOCO works, as I said earlier.
I get that bit.
IOCO works under the Attorney General.
That's established.
Yes.
My point I'm trying to make is that in your statement, you are saying that you suspect that Iyoko acted yesterday upon the orders from the presidency. And I'm asking you that how did you establish that Iyoko acted
we did not say expressly that they acted on the orders, but we say they acted in a lawless manner in the face of the presidency, and the presidency has not acted to call them to order. What I'm simply saying is that if anybody under your authority purpose to act in a manner that is against the law and no action is taken against that offending body, then it will seem that you have given a tacit approval. And so if there's no tacit approval, we expect to see action from the presidency through the attorney general to bring Iyoko and to order, and for the infractions of the CEO of Iyoko. And so in as much as the action is not seen to be forthcoming, we are left with no other impression than to think that the presidency may have sanctioned what they are doing. If they don't sanction it, let the axe fall where it is.
I mean, I'll be dealing with facts here, rather than speculation. So that I mean, to the extent that Iyoko retreat and decided that, look, they're going to rather sit with the person involved, and there's been a 14-day ultimatum to that effect, you would rather say that because there doesn't seem to be any action from the presidency, then they back what Iyoko did. I find that, you know, quite
obviously, if a body that works under you and to you decides to take the law into its own hands and do as it please, would you sit down on consent? Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. At the end of the day, the buck stops with the presidency. So it is up to the presidency to let the axe fall if it disagrees with the lawless act that Iyoko embarked upon. And I'm sure you have heard that Iyoko has since tried to render an apology, which is an admission.
Judge Noboko Mankwa says nobody has apologized.
So, if he did that, but the action of Iyoko clearly to every well-meaning Ghanaian, it's a lawless act. It's not backed by law. And I'm just asked, on what authority did he invade the premises of the Electoral Commission? Especially when it itself admitted that it has submitted a report and was awaiting the findings or the recommendations from the Attorney General's office. So why the indecent haste? Why was it in such a haste to invade the offices of Madam Georgina Opoku? And that's why we say that to us, we are beginning to see a pattern of an attempt to hound some certain people out of offices. And we know, and that since this government came to power, people who have been legitimately appointed to offices have been hounded out of office.
There's a constitutional process that has been triggered. And so anything that would be the outcome of that constitutional process will be the outcome on the basis of law, not on the basis of someone's whims and caprices.
So that is exactly why we are intrigued, why we are amazed, why it is so shocking that in the face of this reality, that the Supreme Court is seized with this matter. And yet an inferior body such as the Iyoko would arrogate to itself the right to go and invade the premises of the Electoral Commission and forcibly occupy the office of one of the commissioners. That is totally unacceptable, especially when this is still in the ambit of the law.
Thank you.
And we have a presumption of innocence of citizens before the law.
Until
you don't take somebody, make allegations against somebody and assume that that person is guilty. There's a presumption of innocence until proven guilty.
Honourable, thank you very much for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Honourable Ebi Efusin is a member of Parliament for the Sagnerugu constituencies and also a ranking member of the Communications Committee in Parliament there, talking about the minority statement on yesterday, what happened at the Electoral Commission office by the Economic and Organised Crime Office. Now,